an archaic species of human discovered just over a decade ago, the truth about the creation of the pyramids, and possibly the earliest cave art in the world?
These archaeological discoveries could change history as we know it.
So we've all heard of Neanderthals, but there were other early human species, some of which were roaming around at the same time as us as well. One of these were the Denisovans, which were only recently discovered in 2010. Out of all the types of archaeological finds, I think discovering a new subspecies of archaic human would be the most fascinating. It's just wild to think that at one time there were different species of humans living on the planet. An ancient female finger bone had been found in a cave called Denisova in Siberia in 2008. In 2010, mitochondrial DNA was extracted, which pointed to the bone coming from an undiscovered species, now known as the Denisovan. Also inside the cave were Neanderthal remains, meaning the two species may have coexisted. The Denisovans lived across Asia from 285 to 25,000 years ago and would have interbred with modern humans, as there are small traces of their DNA in us today, mostly in Malaysians and Aboriginal Australians. They also interbred with Neanderthals. In 2012, in that same cave in Siberia, the fossil specimen of a young half Denisovan, half Neanderthal female was discovered, which they named Denny. She's the only first-generation hybrid hominin that's ever been discovered.
For many years, it was believed that slaves were forced to build the pyramids against their will, under the harsh conditions of the desert sun and in fear of extreme and painful punishment. Well, according to a recent discovery, that might not have actually been the case. At the turn of the 21st century, an ancient cemetery was discovered in Giza that historians believe disprove the forced labor theory and instead support a much more peaceful illustration of the past, in which workers were able to take breaks at will and were actually praised for their service in creating the Great Pyramid. So why do they think this? Well, because the cemetery revealed that those who died while working on the Great Pyramids were given honorable burials close to the royal tombs they helped to construct. Persons found in the cemetery had also been buried with gifts, such as jars of beer and bread, to aid them in their journey to the afterlife. If they were slaves, they would have received no such luxuries. The simple discovery has changed historians' entire understanding of social class in the deserts of ancient Egypt.
These Indonesian cave paintings may be the oldest in the world. In 2014, a bunch of ancient cave paintings were discovered in a cave in Sulawesi Island. They were determined to be between 40 to 50,000 years old, making them thousands of years older than the oldest known cave art at the time. Before this discovery, it was thought that the oldest cave art had been created in Europe, but based on the findings in Indonesia, that's clearly not the case. As archaeologist Adam Brum, who discovered the painting, stated, it adds to the evidence that the first modern human cave art traditions did not arise in Ice Age Europe, as long assumed, but an earlier point in the human journey. The paintings are pretty spectacular too. It's all pretty clear considering how ancient it is. There are human-like figures, there's these three big pig-like creatures, tons of human hand stencils. I mean, how amazing would it be to step into a cave and look at handprints made by people living 50,000 years ago?
In 2021, a trail of fossilized footprints changed historians' entire understanding of the timeline of human migration. The footprints were discovered in what was once, around 23,000 years ago, a salt lake and what is now the Tularosa Basin in New Mexico. It was shocking to say the least, because the discovery meant that humans had arrived in the Americas up to 10,000 years before what was previously thought, meaning that they would have interacted with ice-aged animals like mammoths and saber-toothed tigers, saber-toothed tigers being my personal favorite extinct animal. The fossilized footprints disappear and reappear annually with the shifting sands of the basin, so they are not always available for viewing, unfortunately, but if you would like, you can see an exact replica of the groundbreaking discovery at the Tularosa Visitors Center.
In central China, archaeologists discovered stone tools that changed what they previously thought about early human migration. The tools, found at a site called Shangshen, are about 2 million years old, a lot earlier than the previously oldest known tools found in Eurasia, which were around 1.85 million years old. Between 2004 and 2017, a team of geologists dug into a slope in central China. They found 96 stone tools in different layers of sediment. The tools were left just where they had been used, making it kind of easy for them to date them accurately. The tools included sharp-edged flakes for cutting and chunks of rock that had been used to make them. Before this find, the oldest known human fossils outside of Africa were found at a site in Georgia, dating back from between 1.85 and 1.77 million years ago. The tools at Changshen are about 250,000 years older than that, meaning that clearly humans left Africa and reached central China much earlier than we thought before.
For so long, we have viewed Neanderthals as brutish, barbaric, and kind of unintelligent, but a recent discovery in Spain has led historians to believe that there might have been much more to our hairy cousin species than previously thought. In 2010, a collection of decorative shells dating back to up to 50,000 years ago were discovered in a cave in southern Spain. The shells had been colored and pierced with holes, likely so that they could be worn as jewelry. What does this discovery tell us? Well, that ancient Neanderthals had the capacity to think symbolically and create intricate works of art, making them much smarter and more in touch with their emotions than ever imagined. Other archaeological finds such as rock art, seafaring technologies, evidence of navigation, long-distance interactions, and ceremonial burials present in the Neanderthal world have also supported this theory. In fact, some people believe that Neanderthals were actually smarter than us, but that we were more ruthless, and that's why we're here today, and they're not.
It seems like Indonesia really may have been the birthplace for visual art. In 2014, scientists found something really surprising in Indonesia, a shell with geometric patterns engraved on it. This shell, discovered on a riverbank, was dated to be at least 430,000 years old. What's amazing is that these patterns aren't even believed to have been created by modern humans at all, but Homo erectus, an ancient human species we never thought had the capacity for artistic expression. Before this find, we didn't think Homo erectus had the ability to create art or think abstractly, and this discovery may have changed that, showing that this proto-human species may have actually had complex cognitive abilities and that art actually predates modern humans. Maybe etching things into rock, or in this case shells, didn't just come about with us. Instead, it seems that even our distant relatives like Homo erectus had the capacity for creativity, which is actually kinda nuts to think about.
Perhaps one of the most important artifacts used to rewrite, or more accurately, properly understand history would be the Rosetta Stone, which is not just a language learning software, but a broken part of a larger stone slab with the same message carved in 3 different types of writing. Before the discovery of the stone, Egyptian hieroglyphics were completely undecipherable. But because of the fact that one of the messages on the stone was written in ancient Greek, and historians knew how to read ancient Greek, scholars were able to decipher the previously illegible Egyptian hieroglyphics and uncover many of the secrets of ancient Egyptian civilizations. The story on the stone told of an ancient royal cult and the first anniversary of the cult ruler's coronation. The translation of the Rosetta Stone led to the translation of all ancient Egyptian texts, including pyramid and coffin inscriptions that describe burial practices and class structures within ancient Egypt. Without it, we would be completely lost when it comes to the who's who and what's what of ancient Egyptian, well, everything.
This next discovery is super recent. News about it just came out in April. So just outside the city of Limoges, researchers from the Institute of Preventive Archaeological Research, or INRAP, found remnants of a Roman-era pool and wall surrounding a natural freshwater spring. What's exciting is that this site might be even older, dating back to the Neolithic period, around 4,500 to 6,000 years ago. The Romans built their structure on top of what was likely a sacred well from ancient times. The site included Roman coins, ceramic fragments, and a ceramic depiction of what looks a bit like Medusa, placed near the water source for protection. The second discovery was about 9 miles southeast of Dijon. INRAP uncovered a site that was likely used by humans from the Neolithic period to the Iron Age. At the center of the site, a mysterious monument with 3 interconnected enclosures. A circular enclosure, a horseshoe-shaped one, and an almost square-shaped one. Nearby, they found a necropolis with 5 circular burial enclosures dating back to the Middle to Late Bronze Age. Inside there, they found artifacts like copper alloy pins, ceramic fragments, and a necklace with around 40 amber beads.
In late 2022, a discovery made in an ancient religious sanctuary near the village of San Cassiano dei Bani in Italy challenged everything historians knew about the relationship between the Etruscan civilization, which dominated ancient Italy, and the Romans. Originally, it was believed that the Etruscan civilization fell to the expanding Roman civilization in the late 14th century BC after being defeated in war, but a horde of 24 Etruscan and Roman statues discovered side by side in the dirt might just be rewriting that story. The statues date between the 2nd century BC and the 1st century AD, and they depict gods and replicas of human organs, and they would have been tossed into what was once the thermal waters of the small village of San Cassiano dei Bani by individuals hoping to rid themselves of their ailments. The mix of the statues shows that the civilizations actually had a close relationship, close enough to pray together and even to share sacred prayer sites. A fascinating discovery connecting two civilizations previously believed to have been sworn enemies with limited interactions outside the parameters of war.
Hope you've enjoyed us on this archaeological dig, and we will catch you, yes, you specifically,
In the next one. Cheers.